This video shows you how to set up a project in QGIS to map the anthrax data, point data that we've geocoded earlier, and we're going to map this over the top of a Google Maps layer using a plugin. So the first thing to look at is the actual mainlands data that we're going to use for our shape of Australia, and the projection file for this shows that we're in GDA 1994 and the units are degrees, so this is an unprojected coordinate system, and we're going to use that for everything that we do. And actually that GDA 1994 matches up to WGS 84 that Google gives its Latin longitude coordinates in. So if we look at the data that we geocoded earlier, we've got 73 outbreaks, each with attributes going across. So if you look here in the input column, you'll see what we've geocoded, and here's the match for that geocode that's come out of the geocoding engine. There's also a month and a year of the outbreak, some information on what that was. Some of these are sporadic, others are unusual outbreaks, and then longitude and latitude coordinates in decimal degrees for each of these outbreaks. So into QGIS, the first thing to do is to set the coordinate reference system, enable projection on the fly, and we're going to set that as GDA 94, so unprojected at this stage. Click OK. Next we're going to install a plugin. So if you head up to plugins, manage and install plugins, that allows us to map over the top of Google Maps. If you head up here and in the search type box type open, it will come up with the Open Layers plugin as one of the selections that you can choose from, and if you click on that, it'll tell you a little bit about it, and click Install Plugin. After a few seconds it shows that that's now installed, and you can close that box. Before adding the Google Maps layer, we'll just add the mainland shapefile in, the map of Australia, just to center the image. So clicking that button and heading into the mainlands folder that you've extracted earlier, click on mainland shape and add that one in, and there it is. The next thing we're going to do is make that map of Australia so it's just in outline mode. So if you right click onto the mainlands layer over here and click properties, and then head into style, click on simple fill, and then up here you've got a range of selections of what you can choose for that. So we're going to actually move from simple fill to outline simple fill. The other option that would do the same thing was keep it as simple fill and turn the fill into transparent fill. At this point we'll head up and save the project, and we'll call that Anthrax BPSG 4283 for the reference system GDA 94. Next we'll add our Google layer underneath. So if you've installed the plugin correctly, if you head into the web menu, you'll find Open Layers plugin, Google Maps, and then click on satellite, and it will load a layer. Don't be alarmed if it looks a bit funny to start with. Firstly, move that below the mainland's shapefile, and then click on the mainland shapefile, right click and zoom to layer. And hey presto, it's reloaded the Google layer underneath the mainland layer, and those things match up perfectly in this projection. Sometimes when you zoom back out, the underlying Google layer hasn't quite reset. So what you do at this stage is you just zoom around a little bit. So in this case, let's zoom out slightly. And if you do that once or twice, you'll see down the bottom here, it re-downloads the Google layer and it will work itself out again. Next, to add in the anthrax geocoded outbreak data layer, head into layer, add layer, add delimited text layer, then browse and find your dataset. Click on CSV for comma separated variables only. Notice that it's got longitude and latitude around the right way for X and Y field, you can actually change them if it didn't pick up the right things, and press OK. Then it'll ask you for the coordinate reference system. In this case it's GDA 94. Push OK, and it's plotted all those points. If we zoom right in, you can start to have a good close look at some of those outbreak locations. The next thing to do is to right click on the Anthrax events layer and open its attribute table, and in here it's brought in all that information, and then we can actually use that data for how to display and do things with the points. So we'll close that off, right click over here and zoom to the Anthrax layer extent. That actually gives us the extent of all of the outbreaks. Then to set the symbology of the layer, right click on properties, select graduated symbol type up here, and then we tell it to look at the year. So what we're going to have is graduated symbols by year. Set 11 classes over here, and you can see as it goes up through the years, the colour of those dots is going to get darker. Another thing you can do is add a second thing here. So let's scale the size of those points by IPs and click OK. What you've got now is older outbreaks in white, graduated up through the blues, and larger circles for the larger number of IPs per outbreak. Finally, to add some important orientation to the map, head into the View menu, select Decorations, click the north arrow. You can tell it where to put it and enable it, and there it is down the bottom there. Also add in a scale bar up the top corner, and you can enter some text, some basic text by using the copy label decoration. Enable that. If you're going to put that in the bottom right corner, that's all blue as a background, so let's make that white, and there you have it. Save your project at this stage, and you can also save as an image if you want to export it at this point. And we've mapped the anthrax outbreaks.